Well, Colby, thanks for being with us today. I was able to get Colby connected through his mother-in-law, who I play pickleball with. So she helped me get him lined up. So see, pickleball has some benefits. There you go. All right. Colby, what was it like playing football at Sulphur Springs in Texas? I mean, Texas, people who've never been around Texas high school football and the absolute insaneness that goes with that. What was that like, and that kind of that long march you have to do through the playoffs there?
Yeah, you don't really notice it, I guess, when you're kind of in it. But looking back at it, it's absolutely wild. Every Friday night, I grew up in a town of 15,000 people, so quite a bit smaller than Northwest Arkansas towns. But the whole city shuts down. It's what you see on Friday Night Lights it's pretty real. Like I said, the whole town just travels wherever you are, whether it's a home game, road game, the whole town travels. Going through the playoffs, the crowds continue to get bigger. And little known fact was we actually played the very last football game ever played in the old Cowboy Stadium. So that was actually pretty cool. During, I think, the semifinals, we ended up filling out the Alamo Dome down in San Antonio for our state final. Which was pretty cool. We played a really good Dayton team whose quarterback ended up going to Nebraska for a little bit. We had a lot of talent on our team. Quarterback went to Auburn for a little bit. We had guys go to University of Texas, guy walk on at A&M. So we had a lot of talent. Texas Tech, University of North Texas, and then obviously some of the smaller schools in the area, we filled those out as well. So we had a very talented group.
I think 69-29 final score or something at championship.
69-49.
Wow.
Yeah.
69-49.
Yeah. We had the number one or two offense in Texas that year.
Wow, that is awesome. Well, walk me through your decision to come to Arkansas and play baseball. What was that like, and what was that decision process like?
For me, it was actually pretty easy. So my dad is from Arkadelphia, Arkansas. So it wasn't really a contest for the other schools. I had a couple other schools that were interested, Oklahoma, and my actually second option was Dallas Baptist, which would have actually put me with Wes Johnson at the time. So it's kind of weird how we actually still ended up together. But with my dad being from Arkadelphia and then the university, wanting me to come there to pitch, it was really a no-brainer. I emailed Coach Todd Butler whenever Arkansas was going through the 2009 College World Series. And this was after the Virginia game, and he said, hey, if you're telling me what you can do is actually true, you can come and pitch for us right now. Because they had run out of pitching at that time, if you guys remember. So that's my recruiting story. Came up for a visit, still loved it. And I grew up wearing Razorback clothes and had was watching all the games and was just an absolute huge fan.
What was it like playing at Baum Stadium for the first time? Playing, packed house, rabid fans. I mean, what was that like?
It was cold first off, the first game. Wasn't used to that being down from Texas, but I remember my legs shaking and I was thinking, man, am I going to get through this? Am I going to be able to throw a pitch? I was so nervous. I couldn't believe that where I was, what I was doing. So it was an unbelievable experience. The fans make it what it is, which is an intimidating place to play for other teams, and it can still be intimidating for some of the players there as well. So there's no better fan base. There's no better fans in baseball. And I just want to say thank you to everyone who's come to the games and seen any Razorback baseball players play. Just know that it's harder than it looks, and maybe they are a little nervous.
Being a relief pitcher, and Jake, you will identify with this too. Relief pitcher takes a special kind of mentality to be in that role, embrace that role. Is that something that came naturally to you, or is it something you had to kind of develop that mentality to be a guy that comes in basically when the house is on fire?
I think you can come to it a couple different ways. Some people enjoy it. Some people don't and have to learn how to enjoy it, how to prepare themselves. For me, I actually pitched in relief a little bit in high school, kind of in some midweek games, and I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favorite things to do was come in at the end of the game and just throw as hard as I can for one inning. That seems like a lot of fun to me. Not have to save anything. So I really enjoyed it. I loved it. I wouldn't want to have it any other way. I wouldn't want to be a starter whenever I was playing. And now that I'm out there, as the bullpen coach with those guys at the big league level, it's the same thing. They're a little bit crazy. There's a few nut jobs, without a doubt. There's a lot of Red Bulls and some other caffeine going on, but I love being out there. I love the excitement of it, of having kind of the game on our shoulders, and it's a very fun experience, and it's a stressful job, but if you can do it well, you can have a lot of fun with it.
Speaking of nut jobs, let's go through your routine with Matt Cronin coming out of the bullpen for the Razorbacks. Tell me about that routine and the whole slap in the face and all that, and how did that come to be?
So Jake can speak to this as well. During the offseason, sometimes we're trying to chase velocity with guys. And for those of you that don't know, I used to slap Matt Cronin before he came in the game. Not super hard, not enough to get him crazy or nothing, but just a little bit. So before the games, before he entered the game, he wanted me to start slapping him. And it's called a velo slap. So whenever you get slapped, you get a little extra adrenaline, and that's kind of the story of it. And Wes was big into the science of how to get yourself mentally and physically prepared, and most guys prefer the slap on the back or something like that. But Matt, he was a little bit more oddball than most guys, and he wanted it right there on the face. And so there was one point in the season whenever it got caught on camera. I guess someone called Coach Van Horn and Wes and was like, hey, maybe we need to shut this down. We're starting to get some phone calls. And what if we just block it from the cameras with like a board or something? All right, let's try that. And so that's what we did from there on out. But yeah, every single time. And he set the saves. He broke actually my record for saves in a single season that year. And it worked out.
So, Jody, before the game Saturday, you got to tell Carter Nye to lift his helmet up and just give him a 5 right across the face there. So after you embraced your role as a reliever, how did that improve your draft stock? Was that because you're kind of in that role? How did that, because you end up getting drafted in the second round? Was that did that improve your stock? I mean, you weren't drafted out of high school, so did that improve your stock? And talking with scouts, how did that all work out?
So most guys draft starters probably higher than they do relievers.
Yeah.
But they say in the draft all it takes is one team. So I don't know if it hurt or helped my draft stock. You had to go out there and perform, obviously, but I think only throwing one inning and being able to show some higher velocities probably was intriguing to some teams. That's velocity matters. In the game of baseball, you still had to throw strikes, which at times was a struggle for me. But you had to be able to throw hard to be able to play at the next level. And so, the Miami Marlins obviously took me where they took me, and I was very happy about it. But yeah, I think the velocity was the main component that they were excited about whenever they drafted me.
Let's go back to 2012, that super regional final against Baylor. It was, you being from Texas, it had to be like 120 degrees. I mean, it was just really, really hot that day. I know that. Walk me through that game, the 2 innings you pitched. It's a 0-0 game, there, when you come in and every trip to the College World Series is literally hanging on every pitch. How did you kind of stay, within yourself in that situation?
So there's actually a weird story about that. So Brian Walker was our volunteer coach at the time, a former player at the University of Arkansas. And he actually told me before the game, he said, I have a dream. I had a dream last night that you shut this thing down and we go to the College World Series.
Wow.
So that was kind of a weird dream premonition that he had, but it was really cool because whenever the situation came where I was kind of the next guy in, at that point we were going into extra innings, I just kind of thought back to that moment. I was like, okay, this is going to happen. So I had a lot of confidence going into that outing. That Baylor team was probably one of the best offenses we've ever faced. There's a guy, Max Muncy was on that team. I don't know if you guys remember him or know what he's doing with the Dodgers right now. He's an all-star player at the big league level, and he was an unbelievable hitter in college as well. So they had a lot of talent on that team. Played against a guy that was on that team. That was a little extra motivation. Josh Turley was his name. He went to Texarkana High School, ended up going to Baylor, and we had a little history playing in the same district, and we really didn't like each other. And they actually pinch hit him. He hit a home run off me in high school, and they pinch hit him in the college world, or in the super regional, and I got him. I struck him out, and I got him back. So
yes,
yeah.
So you're drafted by the Marlins. Career didn't go. You wanted to be the next Jonathan Papelbon or what kind of, but injuries got in the way. Did you kind of have any trouble kind of finding yourself and figuring out exactly what you wanted to do? Because some athletes, when it ends for them like that, they kind of struggle to figure out where they're going to go. Did you have any of that with you, or did you knew this was what you wanted to do?
I knew I wanted to get into coaching. I was always trying to help out the guys whenever I was playing. We had a great coach, Dave Jorn, historic, legendary pitching coach in the SEC, and he kind of knew I wanted to coach, so he would help guide me through a few things as well. And whenever my junior year, I was a captain, voted a captain by my teammates, so I'd always had a little bit of a leadership role. And I really enjoyed that, helping guide people towards success. So I always knew I wanted to coach in some capacity. Did I know that I would be where I'm at right now at the age that I'm at? No. Yeah. I kind of rode some coattails to get there a little bit and just was able to put my nose down and work to be able to get there. But I knew that I wanted to coach. It happened definitely quicker than I thought I wanted it to. But that's part of it. People get hurt and they got to move on, and you got to do it quickly. So I was very excited whenever Coach Van Horn allowed me to be able to hop on and be a student assistant coach while I finished my degree and help out and learn from those guys.
So now you're the bullpen coach. What's the next step in the progression? Is it bench coach, manager? What is it that you feel like is in focus for you as your goal moving forward?
I'm really enjoying where I'm at right now. I still have a lot to learn. I still enjoy just being around the guys and just having just a little bit more friendly conversations than coaching conversations at that level. A lot of the guys kind of have a pretty good understanding of what they need to do. We got them a little bit, but really I'm there more to bounce ideas off of. So I'm really enjoying where I'm at. The next step, I don't know if I would want to be a bench coach or a manager. Maybe the next step, as I continue to learn and start feeling a little more comfortable with where I'm at, maybe I go challenge myself and go be a pitching coach, at some level, and kind of run my own program at that point, and see if I had the ability to do that. Would probably be the next step.
Kind of walk me through what's the day like for the bullpen coach? What's your day like?
Well, the kids wake me up at 5:30 after I go to bed at midnight, so that's step one. No, but get up, you hang out with your family during the morning. I'll take you through like a day one process. So, every 3 days, 3 or 4 days, we're playing a brand new team. Day one, get to the field about 10 o'clock. You're finishing your prep that you started the night before on their hitters. You're looking at, okay, where do we need to be able to throw the fastball? How many fastballs are we going to throw, if any? What are the matchups that we're looking for? What's going to be their starting lineup? What have they done recently? So we're looking at all that stuff from about 10 o'clock to 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock comes, we get together. There's a group of 5 of us and our 2 catchers that get together in a room. We shut the door and we're like, okay, here's what I think on this Jose Altuve, right? Here's what I think about Jose Altuve. We need to go here with this pitch as often as we can. Some guys you have to be able to mix. So we're trying to find all the little details that we can while still maintaining a simple approach to how we're going to get this guy out. So after that hour-long meeting goes, we break down all their hitters, versus right-handed pitching versus left-handed pitching. Then our advanced guy, who was the role that I was previously in, he goes and inputs it into all of our automated sheets that we have, and then we're getting ready. Now we're changing into our ball pants. We go outside for stretch. We're watching the guys warm up. Hey, how you feeling? Here's some adjustments that you need to make. Here's not. You did a great job yesterday, or here's maybe why you struggled. And so we're trying to go through that as quickly as we can. Then around 5 o'clock is kind of when things start to slow down a little bit. Then at 5 o'clock, we're going into a room with our relievers. We have a presentation that we worked on at 1 o'clock that we show them. And then after that, it's, okay, now it's time to eat. And then finally you get to eat and kind of slow things down, and then you get to talk to the other staff members. Hey, what's the offense going to do this series? We got this guy starting. We got this guy starting. What are we going to do here? How's this guy going to pitch us? And so we kind of talk about that type of stuff, and then 6 o'clock you get dressed and you go outside and you got a ball game from 7 to 10, and then after the game you kind of try and process a little bit what happened. And then shower, get some more food, head out, put the little kids to bed, and wait for them to get back up at 5:30 and do it all again the next day.
So it's not quite as glamorous as a lot of people would.
No, I will say that the warm cookies and milk on the flights are that's pretty nice.
How much does the family travel with you? Don't they get to go any road? Are there any? You look at the calendar and say, hey, they're going to be in I don't know, Anaheim or whatever, and we that would be one we'd like to go to because we could take the kids to whatever. Is that any of that go into the planning, or how much they get to go?
Yeah, we kind of look at the off days a little bit. They were able to go to Houston this year for the postseason. They went to Baltimore. They always try and hit Kansas City just because it's really close to us. We're starting again. We started last season in Kansas City. And we're going to start again this year in Kansas City. They come down to spring training for a week at a time. My wife is a professor at the University of Arkansas, so she gets summers off. So that's really awesome for us. She drove to Chicago one time, and will not be doing that again. Anybody from Chicago, I'm sorry, but there's always something happening in that city, always. So yeah, they get to travel with me a little bit. As often as we can. We try and look at the off days. This year, I'm trying to get her to go to Arizona because the hotel we stay at there has like a kid area,
a park or water park.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get them to go there with me this year.
What is the state of Major League Baseball? I know we're seeing a lot of changes with the pitch clock and bigger bases and whatever. Do you like the way the direction's going, or are you more of a traditional guy?
I will say
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
I'll say the pitch clock, I wasn't a fan of it whenever they first announced the rule change, but watching it work throughout a full season, it provides so much more time with our families and for guys to get done with the games quicker, and it forces action. I understand why they implemented the pickoff rule. So for those of you that don't know, you can only pick off twice. If you try and pick off a third time, and you don't get him, he automatically gets second base. Not a fan of that one.
No.
Not a fan of that one. I can go into that one a little bit more in detail later, but not a fan of that one. But the pitch clock, I'm a huge fan of. 3 batter minimum, it's fine. You got to get guys out. But I'm generally a fan of the overall rule changes that they're making.
Good deal. We normally don't open it up for questions, but if anybody in the audience has a question you'd like to ask, go ahead, Brad.
Little boys going to play baseball or golf?
My two? Yes. They're obsessed with baseball right now. They are. If you see, we had to bring in a whole case of baseball cards with us. So they're obsessed with it right now. They also like football too, especially the younger one.
Yes, sir. Yep.
Yeah, so we go weekend series versus South Carolina. We end up, Jake Wise was our catcher. He ends up getting tossed. He played the plate. They throw him out. He slams his helmet. Umpire says, "You're done. You're out of here." Then JC was another catcher that we had. He was a freshman at the time. He had gotten in some kind of a fight with a knife and hurt his thumb at this point, and so he was about to hit, and it was still a tie ball game. We're going into close to extra innings, and Van Horn says, "No, we're good. We don't want you to hit with that." He had his thumb all bandaged up like he had a cast on, basically, and so at that point he looks down. And I caught bullpens in the offseason. Like, I love it. I love catching. I caught in high school and everything. So me and a couple buddies stayed over Christmas break. So I caught in the offseason. It wasn't unfamiliar to me, but Van Horn kind of peeks down the dugout. He says, "Colby, can you do it?" "Yeah, coach." And so I'd strap on some gear, put a cup in, and good to go. And get out there and had to catch Michael Gunn. Lefty, I don't know if y'all remember him, but it was unbelievable. It was unbelievable. That was one of the highlights of my career there at University of Arkansas, being the third string catcher.
If you guys hadn't figured out by now, baseball players are a little bit different, than your normal athletes, and the playing with the knife thing or whatever. That's not a crazy thing at all.
Yeah. They weren't happy about that one though. The coaches weren't.
Anybody else got any questions? Jake, you got anything? Yeah.
How about your pitching coach here at the University of Arkansas? How many miles did he run you after the game?
After the games, not many. We were decent whenever I was here at pitching, so he was normally okay with us. It was really in the off season. We had the long trail, medium trail, and short trail that we ran, and we had to run 6-minute miles, and so we ran a lot during the off season, but not quite as much during the season, as long as we did well.
Did you guys have a bet on how long it would take him to get from the dugout to the mound? Was anybody playing the over-unders on like 25 seconds, that slow walk is? Drove us crazy.
I think we were all a little too scared of him to do that at the time. He's a pretty large and intimidating guy, and could really he paid attention a lot, so he kind of knew all your quirks, and he could throw a little jab in there at you, and he really kept us on our toes. But we loved him. He made us all what we were. So.
The SEC next year is going to add Texas and Oklahoma. Two teams that have storied. Traditions, a lot of championships. What's your thoughts on that? We're already taking a brutally tough conference and we're just adding more fire to it.
Yeah, I think it's going to be ultimately good for baseball. I think it's going to raise the level of play. Like, competition just breeds, success or getting better, whatever that phrase is, right? So we have a history with Texas, playing them in the College World Series 2018, Blaine Knight, crushing them a couple times. So we've seen them recently. Whenever I was playing, we had to go to Norman, Oklahoma, and during a midweek, and it's another tough place to play. So hopefully it just makes the Razorbacks better. It makes them work a little bit harder to stay on top, and they continue to do what they've been doing. I really think Coach Van Horn is due a national championship soon.
Yeah.
Soon.
Hopefully 2024. All right. Well, Colby, we appreciate you being here with us today. We give him another big round of applause.